Hey, what's up everybody? I'm back again today with a video on natural anger management. So if you're somebody that struggles with anger, or you feel like you want to handle things a lot better and you're kind of, maybe you have a short fuse, or maybe therapy is not working for you, or you don't want to do therapy, or you don't believe in therapy, or you've just struggled with this for a while, and or maybe you don't even want to take medication. You know, maybe you've taken it and it doesn't either do much for you, or you don't like the side effects. I'm here to talk about natural ways to manage your anger, and this is going to be some things that maybe you didn't think about before, or you didn't know affect or can have an effect on your ability to manage your anger. But I kind of want to try my best to not make this video too long. So I have some main points here. And this doesn't cover everything. I mean, there's going to be other things that I'm not going to talk about in this video that can probably help, but these are going to be kind of some main points here that I believe can be major factors in helping you almost be like a different person if you have anger problems. I mean, not even crazy anger problems either. Maybe you just want to react better to things, and maybe you get a little bit more mad about certain things than you want to be mad about. So this isn't in any particular order, although I think maybe subconsciously I kind of put it in a certain order. But anyways, I'm going to start with nutrition and food dyes. Okay, so and then what's also going to go along in this section is also your blood sugars. But let's just start with food dyes and your nutrition. So I'm not going to go into each detail about each food dye and which specific one does what specific thing, because it's not that hard to do a Google search and kind of find some of this information yourself. But I will name the food dyes, and I will go into the types of foods you will find them in. So it kind of gives you an idea of maybe what to avoid. But these food dyes can actually change your behavior and your children's behavior, whether that's ADHD-like symptoms, or that's you just feeling really angry and upset, or feeling really lousy, or messing with your blood sugars. But anyhow, I mean, that's not even the full spectrum of what they can do to you, besides them being carcinogenic and having other issues with them. But in my opinion, you want to avoid food dyes as much as you can. So some of the food dyes are red number 3, yellow number 5, red number 40, yellow number 6, blue number 1, blue number 2, and green number 3. And for red number 3, you will commonly find red number 3 in these foods: sausage casings, cake decorations, baked goods, canned fruits, maraschino cherries, candy, popsicles. Yellow number 5, you will find them in soft drinks, other types of beverages, baked goods, breakfast cereals, processed vegetables, chips, pickles, honey, mustard, gelatin, desserts, pudding, ready-to-use frostings, dessert powders, candy, and gum. Red number 40, you will find in beverages, breakfast cereals, baked goods, flavored yogurts, chips, gelatin, dessert powders, and candy. Yellow number 6, by the way, I'm going to probably already put this up on the screen, so you can just read it yourself and pause it in case you want to check it out further. We have baked goods. This is for yellow number 6. Breakfast cereals, sausages, baked goods, chips, orange soda, other beverages, hot chocolate mix, ready-to-use frostings, dessert powders, candy, and gelatin desserts. Then you have blue number 1, baked goods, ice cream, canned peas, jellies, candy, beverages, dessert powders, and condiments. Then you have blue number 2. You have breakfast cereals, beverages, ice cream, and candy. And then you have green number 3. Canned peas, other processed vegetables, fish, beverages, pudding, dessert powders, ice cream, sherbets, sorbet, cotton candy, and other types of candy. Some people aren't as sensitive to these food dyes as others, but some, just by cutting off the food dyes alone, you can notice behavioral differences, whether that's you or, in you or your child. So I would highly recommend to just cut off all food dyes, or as much as possible, like really try to avoid them. And then as far as your nutrition goes, I would highly recommend trying your best to stick with whole foods and really trying to put the bulk of your focus of your nutrition on getting your essential macronutrients. And you only have two essential macronutrients, and that's your fats, your essential fats, and your essential proteins, okay? So put the bulk of your focus on that, because if you are reaching your needs of essential fats, and if you are reaching your needs of essential proteins in each meal or each feeding, you are more likely to not have fluctuations in your blood sugar. You're going to be satiated. Your blood sugars are going to stay nice and stable, right? And you're going to find your mood more stable as well. And your blood sugars aren't going to be dropping down. You're going to have these major fluctuations where you lose your temper and you feel really upset because you're really starving and you're really hungry and you have to eat now, and you're hangry, and then you're just like taking it out on your partner or your friend or whoever you're nearest to. And then as far as blood sugars go, because that's already talking about that topic, if you're still having issues in this area, there's a couple things you should consider. And one is you may have a couple things going on here. So you may have issues because of your sleep pattern is really bad. So you're not sleeping enough. And when you're not sleeping enough, because I'm going to go into that topic as well, but this is going to kind of cover some of that. When you're not sleeping enough, a lot of things happen, right? A lot of bad things happen. But one of the things that happens is you're stressing your adrenal glands, and your thyroid's going to suffer. And those two things, your adrenal glands and your thyroid, they have a lot to do with regulating your blood sugars. So for instance, I have it right here. Just having an imbalance in your hormones, which your thyroid's responsible for, it says it can affect a person's blood sugar in several ways. Excess thyroid hormone increases lipolysis and secretion of blood insulin and glucagon, and the sum of these effects deteriorates glucose metabolism, which can cause glucose intolerance and diabetes. Okay, so that's one way. And then if we look at the adrenal gland, it says the most important hormone produced by the adrenal gland is cortisol. Cortisol helps you burn protein and fat, control your blood sugar, manage stress, and regulate your blood pressure. So when you're lacking sleep, you're messing with that whole area in your body that's going to help you manage your blood sugars. And then in turn is going to affect your mood and affect your energy production and just stress your whole endocrine system and your whole body. So you got to get enough sleep. Another thing is exercise, right? So when it comes to exercise, if you're having trouble with your blood sugars, exercise alone is already going to help you just right there, with your blood sugar regulation. It's going to help you be more efficient at utilizing the nutrients in your food, the proteins, the fats, even the sugars, right? So it kind of allows for this cushion to occur. And another thing I wanted to mention about nutrition, since I was just kind of on the tail end of that topic, is fasting, right? So intermittent fasting. So some people really don't like it. Some people are really against it. I'm really for it. I don't think everybody has to do it. I don't think it's necessary, but I think it can, I don't think I know. It can really, really, really help people that have blood sugar issues and have hunger what's the word I'm looking for here? Yeah, hunger issues. Somebody that always feels hungry all the time, it can help regulate your appetite, right? So I'm somebody that really benefited a lot from intermittent fasting. And I used to have a lot of blood sugar issues. And once I started intermittent fasting, it really regulated my blood sugars and just took care of that whole thing. And now my mood's very, very stable. And I always exercised, right? So I still had blood sugar issues even with exercise. probably would have been a lot worse without the exercise, but they were still there. So keep that in mind as well. For those of you not familiar with intermittent fasting, it's just one of the easiest ways to do it is just skipping breakfast, essentially, or skipping your first meal. Because even if you have your first meal at lunchtime or 1 o'clock, it's still breakfast because you're breaking your fast, right? Because you fasted all night. But that's one of the easiest ways to do it, because typically when you have dinner, you don't go to sleep right after dinner. There's like a 2 or 3 hour window and then you go to sleep, at least for most people, right? And then hopefully you sleep 7 to 8 hours. And then that's already 11 hours, right, when you wake up. And then now you're trying to get to 15 to 16 hours of a window of not eating. And then you want to, if it's 16, then you want to eat, you want to have a window of eating about 8 hours in length, right? So you would still eat the same amount of food that you would eat if you woke up and had breakfast like right after you woke up. But you're condensing that into an 8 hour window instead of doing it right when you wake up. And this is supposed to allow the body to have time to focus its energy on healing things in your body, for some autophagy to occur, and to strengthen your immune system, help you have mental clarity. Yeah, just help you heal from things. Help repair your damage to your metabolism. I mean, that's what it did for me. It really helped me. And I've actually utilized this with many of my personal training clients, and it's worked wonders. Like, I'm sorry, if you're against it, that's cool. You probably had a bad experience, and you actually may have blood sugar issues right now as we speak. And that's why you can't do intermittent fasting. You actually have to get to a place first, not for everybody. Some people can just straight up do it, but some people have to actually get to a healthy enough place in order to even attempt to do intermittent fasting, right? I've had a few clients like that where they tried it and they couldn't do it, right? They had bad results with it. And this is because when they first came to me, they were out of shape, they weren't working out, right? So they wanted to try it from the beginning, and I warned them, but it just didn't work out. So what we did was I had them work with me, not doing intermittent fasting, but eating healthy, getting on a healthy nutritional regimen, and exercising with me 2 to 3 times a week, and then doing some cardio on their own. And after getting in a lot better shape and losing some body fat, then we were able to retry the intermittent fasting, and what do you know? They were able to do it. And then they reaped the benefits from that, and it really helped regulate their blood sugars. They lost even more body fat. They're stronger, they have more stamina, they feel better. It freed up so much time in the morning. Now they focus on drinking water in the morning and doing their work and doing all sorts of stuff. So I had the same experience. So for those of you that don't like it, that's fine. I don't judge. That's totally cool. It's not for everybody. You don't have to do it to be healthy, but I'm very open to, you don't have to do the same thing as everybody, right? And if something works for you, hey, let's do it, right? So that goes for that. And then let's cover sunlight. I'm already 13 minutes in the video. It's a little longer already than I wanted it to be, but let's just keep going. For those of you sticking with me, thank you. You're going to benefit from it. So next we have, like I said, we have sunlight. So sunlight's great in helping you with your anger management, because with sunlight, you will enhance your mood, right? I'm not gonna go into the details of like how this necessarily works, because then it'll be way too long, but your body will produce vitamin D, which almost everybody knows, right? That's that's kind of common knowledge by now. But that vitamin D production helps you, I'm skipping a few steps here, but it helps you ultimately produce NO, which is nitrous oxide. That relaxes your smooth muscle tissues, which basically helps relax your blood vessels, right? And I believe that's the feeling you get when you're lying there in the sun. Let's say you go to the beach and you're sunbathing, and you have this feeling of just total relaxation where you feel your body just relax. It just totally relaxes and it feels so good, right? I believe that's the blood vessels relaxing. I mean, I could be wrong there, but it does enhance your mood. You know, we know that in countries and in states where sun exposure is really, really low, you know, people suffer a lot more from depression because their vitamin D levels are way lower. And on this video, I'm going to link a little chart that's backed by research that shows just by having your vitamin D levels above a certain amount of nanograms per milliliter, I believe it's 40 nanograms per milliliter. It's going to show you on that chart like what diseases and degenerative conditions you will avoid just by keeping it. I think it's actually, it might be above 70. Well, it shows you different ones. It shows you 40, and then I think it shows you 70 to 90, all that stuff. But it shows you like the average American is like 25 or below, and then it shows you like that's just to basically avoid rickets, right? But you still have a high chance of breast cancer, a high chance of, you know, all sorts of stuff. And you'll see it when you click on the chart. But it enhances your mood, right? And we all want a better mood, right? Oh, the thing I forgot, by the way, about exercise is another thing about it that is really great to help you manage your anger is after you exercise, let's pretend you did it in the morning, because that's kind of an optimal time as far as like if you want to feel better the rest of the day or earlier in the day, right? If you exercise, then it does something to you where it allows you more patience. You will have a lot more patience after you exercise, right? And let's say you already have something you're kind of mad about, you're angry about, or it's on your mind, then by pushing those weights, by running, by doing something where you're just pushing your body, you're pushing this anger out of your body. You're just taking the stress and you're releasing it. You're sweating it out. You're sweating it out. You're physically pushing it out of your body, and in other ways you're pushing it out of your body, right? And then also, we're not even considering the whole sweating aspect of exercise, right? When you sweat, I mean, that's why the sauna is really healthy for you, because when you sweat, you're sweating out toxins, not just water and electrolytes, right? So you're sweating out some toxins, and those toxins you're getting rid of is really great for your body. It's really great for your lymphatic system. It gets that flowing. I think the only two things that can really get your lymphatic system like to move and not be stagnant is exercise and massage. Those are like the two main things, right? So even walking, jogging, you know, whether it's any kind of exercise, period, whether it's yoga, whether it's anything light or heavy, or, you know, you're going to get that lymphatic system moving, and that's going to help you. All that stuff's going to help you. But if you get in a stressful situation and you already exercised for that day, I'm willing to bet you're going to handle that situation way better and have way more patience than if you didn't exercise for that day, right? And just overall too, you're going to have more patience. And then another one that we're going to cover, we're going to be finished very soon, so just hang in there for a sec, is avoiding or eliminating unnecessary triggers. And the reason why I say avoid, or the reason why I say unnecessary, is because, hey, you know, there's going to be certain triggers that it's something that maybe you can't avoid or you can't eliminate, right? It's maybe there's something like that's triggering you at your job, but you can't just quit your job, or you can't just, I'm just going to leave today, right? So I say unnecessary because maybe there's a certain friend that you have, I'll say friend, or somebody that is kind of close to you. And I say unnecessary because maybe you don't have to hang out with them. You know, maybe you should rethink that friendship, or maybe you should rethink about how much time you spend with that person or that family member, or, you know, somebody that just upsets you constantly, right? Or triggers you constantly, right? Because if you're able to, you know, keep that visitation or keep that time that you spend with them down to a minimum, because maybe it is your sister, maybe it's your brother, maybe it's your uncle, maybe it's somebody that you kind of have to see at family gatherings, but you can kind of avoid, or you can kind of limit that exposure to that person, and then later learn ways to kind of transmute or deal with those situations better, you know, whether that's through therapy or whether that's through videos or books or something like that, then maybe it'll give you time to deal with those things better. But certain triggers that you know you have and that you already know about, maybe you could do your best to either, again, avoid or eliminate those triggers. And then over time, you can learn how to deal with some of those triggers better. So then when you are presented with those again, you can just handle them a lot better, all right? So anyways, I kind of wanted to just cover those few things. I didn't mention with the sleep, by the way. 7 to 8 hours of sleep is very important, right? So I know some people swear that they don't need 7 to 8 hours, but I really think that most people do. I really do. And maybe you can only sleep 5 hours at a time. Well, maybe you have a time of day where you can take a 1 or 2 hour nap, and then that's very beneficial for you, right? So maybe you can do that. And I know that one's harder to control for certain people because of certain situations that are temporary maybe in their life right now. Maybe they just became a new mother, right? And they just can't get much sleep because they're breastfeeding, or their baby's not letting them sleep. I totally understand that. Totally 100% understand that, right? So maybe for right now, you kind of just have to deal with that, and something that will help you deal with that is exercise. That gives you more energy when you're tired, right? It sounds counterintuitive, but it really does. And then proper nutrition, right? That will really help you deal with those kind of things. But there is such thing as too much exercise. Remember that too, because that can also, if you're already having one stressor with lack of sleep, or maybe two stressors with lack of sleep because you have a really stressful trigger or situation going on in your life, plus you're lacking a lot of sleep, and that's really putting a damper on your adrenal system, and then you're over exercising, like you're just doing too much, too hard, too intense, then the exercise becomes counterproductive, right? So there is a proper dose of exercise. Sometimes, certain times in your life when you're going through a really, really tough time with different situations, you may have to actually draw back on that exercise. And that may mean a shorter duration, like instead of working out 45 minutes to an hour, maybe you have to work out a half an hour or maybe 25 minutes. Or that may mean instead of 5 to 6 days a week, maybe you do 3 days a week for a little while, right? Because your endocrine system cannot handle it. Sometimes you have to draw back even more, right? And take a couple walks per week instead of doing the intense exercise you were doing before, right? Just for a little while until I'm a big believer, you gotta listen to your body, right? To some extent, right? So maybe you have a day where you know you're supposed to exercise, but you really, really can't. Maybe you have to take that day to take a nap instead, So anyways, that's what I wanted to cover, natural anger management. I think those things, I truly believe those things, and for me at least as well, they've had such a huge impact for me and also some of my clients, that what those few things can do for you, can just be totally life-changing, right? Just totally 100% life-changing if you implement all those things. And maybe it's going to take you a period of a year or two to implement all those things. Maybe you just start with the food dyes and the nutrition first, right? And you start working on those things first. And then once you feel like you got that down and you got your food in pretty good order, then you move on to the sleep and you start working on that. And then after you get your sleep down pretty good, then you start doing the exercise, because without sleep, it's really hard to stay consistent with your exercise and to even feel like exercising or have motivation, right? Yeah. And if you're somewhere where you can get some sunlight, do your best to go outside and, if you can on your break, and wear some shorts, pull your sleeves up, do what you can. If you can wear a tank top or take your shirt off and go somewhere by yourself and try to expose preferably 70% of your skin, but if you can't do 70, at least do something. Do your face and your neck and your arms and your legs, something like that, or even if it's just your head and your legs, whatever, but just do some sunlight. And then, again, avoid those triggers. So if it's unnecessary triggers, avoid or eliminate them. If it's like friends that you're really not, you're questioning if they're true friends, maybe they're frenemies, then maybe you have to cut off that friendship, or you have to rethink it, right? So, yeah, I think that covers it. But anyhow, I might have left some things out, but I think I'm going to end it there because it's already 23 minutes long. And if you stuck with me, good for you. And if you didn't, hopefully you still got something out of this video. But I will talk to you next time. Take care.